As the days and nights are getting colder, I feel like the world is becoming much more still. The feeling of breathing in this new autumn air is so cleansing to me. Overall, when the weather changes, I definitely slow down quite a bit, taking more time with everything. Right now is a really important time for me to start new routines that I will keep throughout the winter. For some reason, in the winter, I find myself with such low motivation. I find that if I create healthier habits right now, before I lose all motivation in my life, it is much easier to stick to it throughout the snowy months. We've been really trying to enjoy these last days of warmth here because now it feels very fleeting. Actually, this week was pretty cold. I was wearing a sweater for most of it. Logan's sister came to visit, which was so much fun, but I got kind of behind on all my chores, so after she left, I spent these past couple of days just cleaning and tending to some things I had been putting off. Life lately has felt very simple and calm. Not much has been happening here in my little corner of the world. Lately, I have been baking so much. I made these pumpkin muffins the other day, and oh my gosh, they were so good. Fall is the best season, you guys, but it also feels like it doesn't last very long. Like all of a sudden, we were in the dead of winter. So I've been trying to just enjoy these days as much as I can. Also, I probably won't be here this winter, so I feel like every day is even more precious than normal. Good morning, you guys. Wow. I have decided something. I think that September is my favorite month ever. Just like the coziness of colder and longer nights, but then the daytime still kind of is warm. I don't know, you have like autumn coziness, but it's still kind of warm in the day. It's just been such a beautiful month. Oh my gosh. And I don't know, I definitely feel as the weather is getting colder, my body is like really telling me to slow down a lot, and really looking forward to this next season of just relaxing. I don't know, since being home, these past couple months have been really full on. I've been working on my book and just everything on the farm and filming. I don't know, it's been quite a chaotic couple of months. So I'm really looking forward to, I think pretty soon here, I'm just gonna spend like a week in bed reading. I have like 6 or 7 books I really am looking forward to reading, and I'm ready for that. Okay, so I'm really quickly going to talk about the sponsor of this video. Thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Regardless, if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in this world who is going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a very different way. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is a really important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. There's a link in my description. It's betterhelp.com/Isabel. Clicking the link helps support this channel, but it also gives you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/Isabel. Thank you again so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. So last week I picked a ton of apples, and me and my brother were trying to figure out what to do with them all. We found this old fruit press for sale, which we decided to buy and use to make cider from all the apples we had. I have been wanting a fruit press for so long, you guys. It's such an amazing tool, especially if you have a bunch of surplus fruit. Basically, in order to use it, you just grate or grind your fruit and put it into the press, and then you place these blocks of wood on top of the fruit, and then you just crank the handle and it manually presses the fruit juice out of it. It worked so well. I was like amazed. We plan on fermenting most of this into hard cider, which is gonna be so much fun. All my other attempts at hard cider have been such fails. I think because we didn't have a press and we used a juicer instead, but using a juicer will result in much more yeast in your cider, which could lead to an overly alcoholic cider, which is what has happened to us all the other times we've made it. I remember once my brother opened one of our containers of homemade cider, and it was so fermented, the bottle exploded like 10 feet in all directions and even like shot up to the ceiling, which was just such a mess to clean up. I cooked some over the fire on a very cold morning this week and added a bunch of spices, which was such a treat. Oh my gosh, wow. So I'm weaving this blanket for my niece. If you have been watching me for a while, you remember I used to spin my own yarn to weave with. Last year, the cats were playing very intensely, and one of them launched themselves into my spinning wheel and completely smashed it to pieces. So my wheel is broken at the moment. A dream of mine that I've had for many years now is to one day have some sheep, and then I could spin those fibers and weave rugs and blankets for my family out of it. That would be like peak experience in life, I think. I am so inspired by traditional old world skills. Also, I'm feeling so grateful for this colder weather because it's given me an excuse to get back into the studio and start working on some of my winter projects. My body is feeling so tired these days, you guys. I don't know what it is about this week, but I've had so much trouble getting out of bed. I've been feeling for a while this need for a deep rest. I kind of wish I was a bear and I could just go into hibernation for the winter. So with some of the apple juice we pressed, I cooked it down on low heat for like, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 hours and ended up with this super thick apple syrup. It tasted a lot like maple syrup, but it had a very strong apple flavor, obviously, and it was a little more tart than maple syrup. Oh my gosh, I would highly recommend making this apple syrup. I've been making a lot of homemade pasta these days. We just have such a crazy abundance of tomatoes in the garden right now, and my favorite thing to do with them is to make pasta. You know, when you like look back at old photos and you feel this sense of nostalgia and you think to yourself, oh wow, that was such a great time in my life. I should have appreciated that more. I sort of feel like that is happening right now, and when I look back on this time in my life, I'll have wished I appreciated it more. If I'm being completely honest, this might be the last season I'll be here full-time in the tiny house. I've been thinking of moving for quite some time, and obviously, I'll always have this little trailer home here because it's on my family's land, but this might be the end of me living here, which honestly, you guys, feels really, really good. I've been craving a change for some time now. There's so much that I can't do because I'm so limited by space, and as my business and career have grown and expanded these past years, it's been really hard to live, work, sleep, and do all that in one small, tiny room. I honestly don't know where I'll be or what I'll be doing, but I trust that life will bring me to where I need to go. And also, I don't think that change will make me any happier per se, because I honestly think that to an extent, it really doesn't matter where we are or how far we run, we are still ourselves when we get there. And overall, our sense of fulfillment and happiness comes from within ourselves. And I don't think it's dependent on our external world. I do think that a change will allow me to grow in different ways, which is what I've been really craving. I think staying in safety and comfort for too long is not good, and we should always continue to challenge ourselves in our life. You know, we need to do the things that scare us, and moving is definitely something that scares me, but it also excites me too. So I was just walking and I almost stepped on this massive rattlesnake. Oh my gosh, it was a huge, fat one. It was like just a couple inches from my feet. It's weird, it didn't rattle. Kind of odd. Normally they rattle when you get close to them. Maybe it's a sign. Whew, I'm out of breath. The two things I'm doing every day that make me feel very uncomfortable is getting in this river and going on a run. Trying to keep better habits for myself, because when I do the things that make me feel good, then I am a much more pleasant person to be around. Whew. Whoa! So in the end of summer, the river is like so low. It's kind of hard to get in this thing. Normally I go a little farther away where it's steeper, but I was feeling kind of lazy today. Okay. Woo! Whoa, okay, here I go. Not really in the river, but